Hi, Sarah. It's August 24th, I think. And, yeah. Happy almost fall. Weeks. When I got back with my car, I was fine Wednesday. I went to work, and then Thursday morning I woke up and I had conjunctivitis in both eyes and a flu thing and a fever and all that fun stuff. So I went to the Target clinic, and they gave me eye drops for my eyeballs, and they said what I knew they would say, what they always say, which is, "It's a virus! Drink fluids!" And you're like, yeah, thanks. Great. So I did that, but I couldn't go to work Thursday or Friday, so basically I went to work one day that week. This last week, I was okay to go to work. I'm still sick, as you can hear. Not as bad, though. Like, I don't have a fever and stuff. I just have, like, my nose is a little swollen. Not here, but, like, way back in there. And my throat's a little swollen. So that's annoying. This weekend, my mom came to visit me. And we went to My Fair Lady at the Guthrie on Friday, which was so much fun. It was so beautiful, and well done. Good times. I tell you what, though, spoilers, if somebody doesn't want to know what they did with the ending of My Fair Lady at the Guthrie, turn it off now. At the end, they didn't have her come back. Like, he got in there and he turned on the recording, and she's supposed to come in and be all like, "I washed my face and hands. I did." And it's like her come back, and then he says, "Eliza, wear the devil in my slippers." But they had her come out in the ball from the embassy gown on the far side of the stage with a light on her, and he was watching her like he imagined her coming back. She didn't actually come back. And I was like, why? I was like, why? Is that necessary? I don't think it's necessary. It wasn't necessary. It wasn't. No. I'm sure it felt like one of those, like, deep actory, directory decisions where they were like, doesn't Eliza coming back undercut her hard-won independence as a woman? That's the whole message of the musical. And I'm like, yeah, I get that, and I get that that's your reasoning, except that's not what's written. You don't get to decide what Lerner and Lowe wanted to happen at the end of a musical. They already decided what they wanted the ending to be, and that's what they wrote. And I get that you're like, we're gonna change things. They also added in the scene at the embassy ball that's in the movie that's not in the musical. And I don't know how they got the rights permission to do that. Because usually the musical people are all like, no, you can't change anything. But they let them put that whole scene in at the embassy ball. And I was like, that's weird. That's weird that they got permission. I mean, it was fun to see all the pretty dresses. Mainly that's all I wanted to see was the pretty dresses at the ball. But the ending, I was like, boo. The rest of the show was so in keeping with a traditional production that it just came out of nowhere, and I heard a lot of murmurs of confusion. Like, people were confused. I think it was a dumb decision. I think it was a very selfish decision on the part of the creative team. That they were like, we're gonna make a statement with My Fair Lady to show that we understand the text for the first time out of anyone who's ever done it. And I'm like, no. The other people were just doing what was written. So, other than that one thing that pissed me off considerably, everything else was beautiful. The costumes, the actors were great. The Freddie Eynsford Hill was fabulous, because he was like Freddie in the Pygmalion, where he's like, I'm a little bit of a dork. And you're like, yeah. He's a bit of a dork, and that's why you're okay with her going back to Higgins, is because Freddie's a bit of a dork. She's a lot cleverer than he is. And in the movie, they always made, like, Freddie was, like, handsome and perfect and normal, and there was nothing wrong with him, and he had that beautiful romantic song. And in this one, they made On the Street Where You Live a comedy number, and I was like, that was fabulous. That was great. So he's, like, flipping around the street, and everybody's like, "Nah," and like he's like stealing people's baby carriages and dancing with the baby. It was great. So this video, I wanted to share with you books that I've been reading since you shared Libromancer with me. So let's get started. For instance, I just finished the Grisha trilogy. Oh, you can't see it. That's unfortunate. Heavenly Nook, it's a heavenly nook. Oh wait, no, nope. Heavenly Nook from the angels. I just finished the Grisha trilogy, which starts with Shadow and Bone. It's by Leigh Bardugo, L-E-I-G-H, Bardugo. Starts with Shadow and Bone, then Siege and Storm, then Ruin and Rising. There's a lot about these on Tumblr. It's sort of based in Russian things. Like, it's like set in like a imaginary Russian land. So it's about, there are these people in the towns, and then the land who are just born with power. They are called Grishas. And they are born with power over certain things. Like, there are fabricators who can put things together and make chemicals and use magic towards that. There are I can't remember the word for them, but there are ones that can control the winds, and ones that can control fire, and ones that are heartrenders, who are like, they kill people with their powers. And then there are healers, and the lord over them all is the Darkling, and he controls shadows, and he's the only one of his kind, and he's the most powerful of all the Grishas. And our heroine comes in, and she discovers that she has a latent power she never knew about, and she controls the sun. Like, she controls light. So she is the equal opposite of the Darkling. And that is sort of where our story begins. It's very, I would call the feeling, what would I relate it to? Another sort of Graceling? A lot like Graceling. You read Graceling. It's a lot like Graceling, where it's that sort of like fantastical, and there's a little bit of romance, and it was really well written, and it was interesting. And the third book, things like like there was a whole bunch of stuff and things that just like broke your heart. That's what it reminded me of. Not Mortal Instruments. Not Mortal Instruments, the other one. The prequel to Mortal Instruments, which is Infernal Devices. It's all up here. Infernal Devices. If you haven't read Mortal Instruments, 7 books. Infernal Devices, the prequel, 3 books. You should get on that, because nom 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 nom, devour. I think Infernal Devices is better, but you have to read Mortal Instruments first or you won't get it. But yeah, it was very dark, very cool. The other thing I wanted to tell you about was Red Rising, which I almost didn't read because it looked too dark. I didn't think I was going to like it. Nope. Stop it! Sorry, talking to my Nook again. The problem with Red Rising by Pierce Brown, Heavenly Nook. Oh, you can sort of see it. It looks like a red wing. Is that this is the first book and the other ones aren't out. Kill me now. But this one is very dark. It's very Hunger Games, and it's really cool. Like, I loved it, and I did not think I would. It's about a future where humans have colonized planets, and on these planets there is a caste system based on color. So the miners who mine the planets for the stuff that makes terraforming possible are reds. And then there are like browns, I think, and then there are like white. Anyway, the top is gold. And this guy discovers they think that they're mining stuff to help Earthlings escape a broken Earth to a terraformed Mars. He discovers Mars has been terraformed for like 5 generations, and they're just telling the Reds this to keep them docile. So he sort of gets caught up in this plot to infiltrate the fancy gold school for all the young golds, and to sort of try and get into the highest echelons of gold society. And this follows him from the beginning of his story through the schooling. So it's very cool. It's really, 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 really dark, though. It's really dark and kind of violent, but it's young adult fiction, so as violent as young adult fiction gets, but gosh, it's good. Really actiony. Not a lot of, there's no hanky-panky-panky. Not really. But Wow, so good. Other thing I want to tell you about Cinder. Cinder, I'm sure you've seen this cover. No, stop, Nook. I'm sure you've seen this cover and I wish I could show it to you. You can sort of see it. It's like the android foot with the red shoe. There are 4 books so far. There's another one. No, there's 3 books so far and there's a 4th one coming out. Cinder, Scarlet, and Cress are the ones that are out, and then we're waiting for the 4th one. And what's great about these is they sort of have a sense of humor. They're kind of light. Like, it starts out being like, oh, this is a light, fuzzy, girly book Cinderella story, and then it like gets more involved in that. And then in the 2nd book, things get way more involved. And then by the 3rd book, you have like a huge plot, and each book does not disregard the previous one. It adds characters. So by the 3rd book, you have a Scooby Gang, which makes me so happy in my heart. It's kind of a sarcastic humor throughout the book, sort of like Buffy. I would liken it to Buffy the Vampire Slayer in tone, but gosh, it's fun. And by the 3rd book, I just loved these characters with all my heart and soul. I just wanted to love them and take them home and be part of their Scooby Gang and help them in their quest because I love them and they're funny and cool. So Cinder, Scarlet, Cress. And then I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Absolutely read Fangirl. If you have not read Fangirl, you need to read Fangirl because all the fangirls don't be reading Fangirl. Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. No, I can't even make that one come up. It's mint green. It's about a girl who is obsessed with a Harry Potter, like sort of a Harry Potter type book. And she writes fan fiction, and she's so in love with her fan fiction, and she's really, really good. And she goes to college with her twin sister, who's like her opposite, who's popular and punk and cool. And it's just sort of about her trying to navigate the world, and like she has like a nuts roommate who has like a nuts boyfriend, and all she wants to do is write fan fiction. But Fangirl. It's lovely. It's lovely. It's a little dark. Things get a little dark family. There's a little bit of family drama stuff. But you read it because you're a fangirl and you understand. And then last but not least, and John Green has recommended this about 1 billion times, so no excuses, Anna and the French Kiss. Anna and the French Kiss. I read it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I don't know how to explain this to you. Stephanie Perkins. It's just a love story. It's a high school love story. That's it. I don't know why. I don't know why this is like the most wonderful thing, and I really want to reread it. But gosh, I loved this book. It was perfect. It was perfect. So Anna and the French Kiss is followed by, is followed by Something in the Happy After, Something in the Happy After. I'm going to remember that girl's name in a minute. Lola and the Happy After, and Isla and the, Lola and the Boy Next Door, Isla and the Happy After. The 3rd book just came out, so we're done. So you can read them all in one go. And then, that was not last but not least, because my absolute favorite book, my book that I've been coming at people with like a zealous need for them to read. You have to read this. If you like Labyrinth, if you like that kind of dark, interesting creatures, goblin, like that sort of feeling, if you liked the feel of Labyrinth and the style of Labyrinth, you have to read Daughter of Smoke and Bone. You have to. People have to read this book. This is what John Green was talking about when he says you read a book and you are filled with such zeal for this book that you believe that no one will ever be complete until they have read this book, and you have to tell them. And I'm telling people, I've told everyone, you have to read Daughter of Smoke and Bone. There are 3 of them. Daughter of Smoke and Bone, Knights of Blood and Starlight, and Dreams of Gods and Monsters. And gosh. And she's so smart. It's like so dark but so beautiful, and her best friend is hilarious. Like, it's so funny too, but it's also so deeply passionate and romantic, but it's not like it's just wonderful. It's wonderful. So I'm out of time, so I'll see you next week. Bye.